like to apologize for last week's episode. So one of our super fans is also my sister.
Shout out to Emily.
Shout out to Emily, who has watched every podcast episode, no matter how bad the technology, how bad the sound was. She has watched, and she talks about it.
Oh, yeah.
Like she'll be like, oh, I watched your podcast, or I listened to your podcast, blah, blah, blah. And so the last one, she group messaged us, which is probably the first sign that something was wrong. And she's like, wow, this is the most unhinged podcast yet, which is really saying something. And I'm like, it wasn't that bad. Like, come on, it was fine. And then I went back and I listened to it and I was like, holy moly.
We were tired. It had been a long
really
week.
Tired.
I cannot express to you enough how tired I was. I also had a migraine. 100% had a migraine.
I've had a headache for like a week.
Yeah. I was really unwell and I just wanted to go home, but I couldn't go home until we filmed that podcast episode. And
so we filmed it.
By golly, and it's out there and it's fine.
Yeah, this is 100% coming up if I ever try to run for office. Like that podcast episode is going to be, there's going to be clips.
I just hope that everyone is on time to dinner now.
I love how you, and the thing is, I know he'll never hear it because he's never going to listen to this podcast.
No.
He loves me like a sister, but he's never listening to this podcast. So we have literally just slammed him publicly.
He's not even going to
be completely unaware.
Yeah, after he, and he paid for my dinner.
After he paid for your dinner. And you publicly said that was your due because he made you late for getting your dinner.
I think it is. We were, apart from the people who were out of state, we drove the furthest.
Yeah. But he had to pick up people from Colorado at the airport.
Right, but it's just the airport.
Well, I don't know when their plane landed.
I don't know either. But text a girl and be like, we're gonna be late. We're gonna be sorry.
Like, order without us, but I'll still pay for your dinner.
Right.
That's what you wanted him to text.
Yes, okay. I think that's the gentlemanly thing to do. Listen, he's a man working in pregnancy help. He has to know.
He doesn't know.
Well, he does now.
He doesn't because he's not going to listen to this podcast.
I'll email it to him.
You can email
and be like
just subject line, etiquette. And then just fill in the blanks.
Yeah, it'll be good.
I think he knows you well enough not to be surprised if you got an email like that.
I think so. I think we've established a baseline of
chaos.
Yeah.
A chaos baseline.
Yeah, it's all good.
It's all good. All right, so I also want to share before we get started, I am a little sad today because, and I realize this is making you happy, which just makes me even sadder. I went outside and it was chilly.
Oh, yeah. Pumpkin spice season is here. It's fake fall. Don't feel bad. I was looking at the weather. It's going to be in the 80s next week.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. I was sad, but I was I'm aware that it's fake fall.
Do you see my fall?
But yeah, top? I was like, you see my plaid. I'm aware that it's fake fall, but it's fall in my heart.
Yeah. So I did get a PSL last week. Had one yet. This is actually only the second one I've ever had in my life. So I tried one for the first time last fall. And I was like, oh, I get what the hype is about. It's actually really good. And I will not share exactly, but I came into an unexpected $10.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I used that on a very fancy pumpkin spice latte from Dunkin' Donuts with whipped cream and a little drizzle. Yeah. And it was good.
Yeah. They're good.
I haven't had one yet because it was so hot.
Yeah. But I like the iced ones. And the pumpkin cream cold brew or the iced pumpkin chai lattes are actually what I go for. I very rarely have a straight up PSL hot.
Okay.
I'm usually getting an iced version and they make the chai tea lattes.
Okay, so normally if I'm getting coffee at especially Starbucks, because I almost never go to Starbucks, I get Emily to tell me what to buy.
Yeah.
But that backfired because she told me to order something, I don't even remember what it was, and then she said get an extra shot of espresso.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, okay. And so I go up to the counter and I'm like, oh, I never order at Starbucks. This is what my sister told me to get. And she's like, oh, honey, you do not want an extra. That's 4 shots of espresso. And I was like, my heart would literally just beat out of my chest. And so I text my loving sister and I'm like, hey, I was just advised by the Starbucks barista that this is an unhealthy thing to do. And she's cracking up. She's like, you would have had so much energy. And I'm like, I hate you.
I don't maybe I'll know how many shots of espresso are in my Starbucks. And maybe I'll just. It's not my business.
It's not your business.
It's not my business anymore.
It's their business.
Yeah, it's not my business. I just like it. It's good, and I do feel like wah after I drink it.
Okay. Okay.
All that to say, it's chilly. It is PSL season. Life is good for me.
I went biking last night, and I should have brought like not a hoodie, but like long sleeve something or other.
I busted out my sweatsuit yesterday after work. Like I went home and promptly put on my sweatpants and like a giant, like a 4XL hoodie. Like
I love giant hoodies.
Like it's massive. Was I too warm? Yes.
Didn't matter.
It didn't matter. It's fall in my heart.
Okay. All right. So we are going to talk, and I know we've talked about this before. Super big topic in the pro-life movement, and we're going to talk about birth control. So we've done a couple episodes before talking about birth control, talking about how it works, talking about how it impacts our brains. And one of the reasons we talk about this as often as we do is because it is so ubiquitous in our culture.
Yeah.
Most women, and I'm talking, I would guess 95% of women have been on some type of hormonal birth control. And it's also something we encounter really frequently on the chat line.
Mm-hmm.
And before we get into kind of what we're going to talk about today, I'm going to share an experiences that we're having on the chat line, and we're not sure what's going on, but I'm trying to dig into it as much as I can.
I'm pretty sure what's going on.
I'm pretty sure what's going on too. We have clients who are messaging us because they want to get pregnant. Now, first of all, they're finding an abortion facts chat line, which is a little bit odd.
Yeah, you can't think too deeply about that.
Right. So they're messaging us and they're saying, I want to be pregnant. And so one of the first things we ask is, have you been using any kind of family planning method? Because that's what they would call it overseas. And sometimes they're like, oh, I've been trying to get pregnant for 2 years. Oh, yeah, I had this implant. And I'm like, well, you haven't been trying to get pregnant for 2 years because you have an implant.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's really obvious like that. Like it was not explained to them exactly what they were getting, how long it would last,
which is a problem anyway.
It's a huge problem.
Right.
But twice in the last 2 weeks, I've gotten women who have said, I want to get pregnant and I haven't gotten pregnant. And they had some type of injection that was only supposed to last 2 months. Now, this is exactly the same story, almost word for word. They had an injection that was only supposed to last for 2 months, and they have not been able to get pregnant, even though it's been like a year.
Yeah. Yeah. So that, in fact, I talked to someone who had, we're assuming it's something along the lines of the depot shot, right? Like it's, but yeah, like they're supposed to be, I think it's 3 months that you're.
Well, I've never heard of one that's 2 months.
I've never heard of one that's 2 months either.
Said 2 months.
I was like, depot, I think it's 3 months you're supposed to go. So yeah, that's very
very odd that it's 2 months. Also odd that they don't know the name of it, because usually they know it's depot if it's depot.
Yeah.
They'll say, I got the depot shot. Yeah. And so the problem is that when they say I got an injection, I'm wondering if it's not an implant.
Yeah, it could be an implant.
And it lasts 2 years and not 2 months. And both of these women are worried about their marriages because fertility is huge in their culture.
Yeah.
And so to not be able, not that it's right. I'm not saying it's right to leave women because they can't have children at all.
But culturally, that's just a reality that these women face.
Yeah. If they can't get pregnant, their husband is going to start wondering, why did I even marry you?
Yeah.
So why can't, and maybe they just can't get pregnant. Maybe this is just a freak.
Well, that's the thing, is I was like, there's so many factors into it, but it is something that we run into, and it is a known practice of certain organizations to
Planned Parenthood.
They set up these tents and they just go in kind of like blitz communities, right? So they'll go on this humanitarian aid thing.
The face thing.
And yeah. And they'll give women implants or depot shots or whatever, and then they just leave.
And they don't tell them what it is.
And so these women have no idea what they got. And there's been documented cases of Planned Parenthood telling women that they're getting birth control, and what they actually got was sterilized.
Yep.
And so those are documented cases in Africa of that happening.
Yeah.
And so who even knows?
And like when you go home from the doctor and you have anything, a shot, a procedure, they give you this big pile of paperwork. And
I get a big pile of paperwork for prescription strength Tylenol.
Right. And I'll ask them, and 90% of the time we'll say, what insert did they send you home with? And the answer is, I didn't get anything.
Yeah.
So sometimes they'll send us a picture of it, and I can direct them to like the manufacturer's website and then it'll explain more about it or whatever. But 90% of the time they're like, no, they didn't give me anything. They gave me a shot. They gave me an injection. They gave me this. They gave me that. And I've had to ask things like, did they put something in your womb?
Right. Like, are they getting IUDs? And they have no idea.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, how would they even know?
How would they know?
That's the
reality. You go to the doctor, and the thing is, and even here people you don't ask. Like, the doctor says, you need this will fix whatever your problem is. Okay.
Well, you trust them because they're doctors, and they went to school for X amount of years, and
and in this case they're potentially foreigners too.
Well, and they took a vow, right?
Yeah.
They took an oath And so you trust, I was like, you trust that they do it, and well, they don't.
Yeah. So we're digging into it. I am definitely doing some research on the latest shipments of birth control to Africa.
Yeah, like, is there some sort of new birth control that's only 2 months? Or are these women just getting their wires crossed about IUDs or implants?
I assumed, and I know you shouldn't assume, my grandma always said, it's like the donkey thing.
Yep.
I assumed that the first one was just thinking 3 and said 2.
Yeah.
But when the second one said 2, I was like, what the heck? And there was that story that broke not long ago of a bunch of birth control that's in a warehouse in like Belgium that they were trying to get shipped over.
The implants. Yeah, they were implants.
And I'm wondering if it's really hard to track from our perspective because these things aren't, I mean, they're not newsworthy, right? Like, so a bunch of birth control got shipped over to Africa. But I'm trying to, as much as I can, see if there's like something that came onto the market maybe 2 years ago here and is no longer in use for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And now it's being shipped over to Africa because that's, I mean, it wouldn't be new.
No, I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah, we take the stuff that we won't use and send it over there and get the tax write-off. But so far I have not found something. I haven't done a ton of looking, but
I'll ask around. I've got friends in places.
Friends in birth control places.
Friends in pharmacy places.
Yeah, see what you can find out. But what we're going to talk about today it's actually an article from Natural Womanhood, which I love. I don't know how much of that
I was clicking around on their website. It was like they had a lot of interesting things. I mean, I tried to keep up as best as I can, but
I'm on their email list, and so sometimes they'll send stuff out that's really good. It's called Natural Womanhood. I think the website is just like naturalwomanhood.com.
I think so.
Yeah, it's very simple. You can Google it. It's got like this great little woman like as a logo. And they have a lot of stuff on like the really how birth control works, like how to manage PCOS without birth control, like how to deliver naturally safely, like those kind of things. And so lots of really good articles, lots of really good information. I've really enjoyed it. And this one really tipped me off because the title is The Individual and Societal Cost of Gynecology's Birth Control Fixation. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But basically this idea that women are constantly being pushed onto birth control.
Yeah. And I thought that there were stats in the story, but I was like trying to minimize my printing. And so maybe it didn't make it, but the stats were something like half of women have experienced pressure from their gynecologist to take birth control, and something like 25% of women have had some experience being on birth control.
I'm shocked it's not higher.
Right, and that's why I was like, I would need to go find those stats, but like that's what I remember.
Maybe you could see an email I sent you. But I know I was pressured to take birth control.
They ask me pretty much every time I go to the doctor, and you're like, I don't need any.
Yeah, most of the time it's like right after we have a baby, and they always say, what kind of birth control do you want? And I'm always like, oh no, we don't do that. And then it's the end of the story. Like, I'm a wife, I'm a mom. No big deal. But before I got married, I went to a doctor and he was really pushing me to take birth control, even though I had health problems that contraindicated the use of the birth control. And I told him, I said, I can't take it because I'm having these health problems and it increases my risk of stroke. And he was like, oh, this won't increase your risk of stroke. And it 100% would have, like what he was telling me to take.
Pretty much all of it does.
Yeah.
So here it is. In fact, a 2024 study found among people who had ever talked to a healthcare provider about contraception, over 1 in 6 participants, so 18.5%, reported experiencing coercion during their last contraceptive counseling, and over 1 in 3, or 42% of women reported it at some point in their lifetime.
That coercion is a very strong word.
Coercion is a very strong word. So this isn't like, oh, my doctor brought it up and then dropped it.
Yeah.
Like, this is my doctor will not let it go.
Mm-hmm. And is pushing.
Yeah.
Because to say, are you interested in birth control? After a delivery, what kind of birth control do you want to use? Those are legitimate healthcare questions.
Sure.
But it should never cross over into coercion.
Well, that's why I was like, you answer and then you move on.
Right.
Like, I don't understand. So I read this article and it was really interesting. It was talking kind of like in a broader sense about women's care and women's health, and just the difficulties that women have in like the health arena. So they even go on to list like 78% of people with autoimmune diseases are women. Women are twice as likely to have mental illness like anxiety, depression, PTSD, blah, blah, blah. And yet women aren't listened to. Like when you go to the ER, women are more likely to be accused of drug seeking, habit. I've been accused of drug seeking habits in the ER.
You're like, I just want antibiotics.
Yeah, you're like, please. And they're just like, they start asking the questions and you're like, be so for real right now.
I went in once with what we thought was a blocked, I don't know, some intestine.
Okay.
Something squiggly inside of me. I don't know. Ton of pain.
Yeah.
And they're like, so what kind of pain medicine do you prefer? And I was like,
yeah.
Tylenol. And they're like, oh, she's not seeking
right. Like, those are the kind of questions. I'm like, I just take Tylenol. You're like, I've never had painkillers in my life. Please. Yeah. And I think it's ultimately very, very sad that women would feel that way at something like a gynecologist.
Yes.
Who are predominantly women. There are male gynecologists, but I would say by and large, it's definitely a female-dominated field.
At this point, yeah. I mean, maybe not 20 years ago, but for sure now.
But for sure now, like, I think more and more women prefer female gynecologists. And it's really
why
sad.
Why are we treating birth control like it's the be-all, end-all?
And that's what the article was ultimately getting to, is that, in fact, there was a very good quote at the end. Let's see. Birth control as a catch-all solution erodes faith in medicine, silences suffering, and facilitates a societal pattern of not taking women seriously.
Yep. Every time you go into the doctor with any kind of female complaint, they want to put you on birth control.
Exactly. And that's not to say that birth control can't be used to help some things, right? Like, it's known to help reduce pain for, like, endometriosis. It does not cure it. It masks it.
Yeah.
And there's certainly a place for, like, you need relief. There's a time and a place for masking things.
Right.
Like, I understand treating symptoms when you can't cure them, but it's just covering it up. Like, you're not curing, you're not fixing anything. And in fact, you could be causing further damage. Like, it's
and the pill,
frustrating.
The pill, right, which is the euphemism for all birth control,
right,
has not been around that long.
No.
And they're constantly coming out with new iterations and new ideas, and it's getting longer and longer and longer. And it's not just like, oh, take a pill every day and you won't get pregnant. Now it's, here's Nexplanon, put it in your arm. This implant will last for months and months. What about the IUD? What about Mirena? What about, like, all of these things? And some of these things are really permanent or semi-permanent.
Yeah. Like, I mean, IUDs are upwards of 5 to 7 years now.
Yeah.
Years. Like, that's quite the commitment that you're making.
I mean, you could take it out, but...
Right. Well, and I was reading to prepare for this episode. I actually found, and I sent it to you. It's long, but there's a very good article from Time Magazine talking about long-acting LARCs. I can't remember what the R stands for.
Long-acting reproductive
contraception.
That seems like a...
Yeah, I was like, that seems redundant, but whatever. LARCs. So you're talking about your IUDs, your implants, your things that are long-acting.
I always think it's LARP, which is actually live action role play.
I know what LARP is, but this is not it.
And every time I see it, I think of, like, just... Anyway.
Yeah, so they were talking about, like, how LARCs are becoming more and more, like, that's the go-to now, is it's not like the pill that you could stop and, it's these long-acting things. And this article was specifically focused on them pushing it immediately after a woman gives birth. And it was focused in Alabama, which was interesting to me because that's my home state.
Low income.
But there's low income, it's people of color, and they're finding, like, these research studies show that women of color, women who are living in what we would consider to be poverty or below the poverty line, are more likely to be coerced to take birth control than white women, than middle-class women.
Or they're being coerced into using one of these long-acting types of birth control, maybe not understanding what they're getting into.
Exactly. And so this article was talking about the tactics that doctors are using. And so it was multiple women saying that they're in labor, right? Like, they're giving birth to, I think, and one of them was like child number 3. These are people who love their kids, who planned their kids. These kids were wanted, they're loved, they're cared for. She's in labor with kid number 3. And instead of, like, offering epidurals, comforting her, taking care of her, they're asking her about what birth control she wants. Like, literally, like, in arguably probably your most uncomfortable moment in life.
I guess I figure if they want you to use birth control, that's the time.
Exactly.
Like, nobody could want to get pregnant again during this.
So that's a tactic, right? Like, they're waiting until you would be the most vulnerable, and then they're asking. And these women are reporting that it's just over and over and over again. And then baby is born and they're waiting until the father leaves the room and asking about long acting.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so not the same thing, but when I was admitted with the twins, before they were born, so it's like 3-ish weeks before they were born, they would only talk to me about abortion when Anthony left the room.
Right. And so it's
like it was like they were waiting.
It's the same tactics.
It's creepy.
It's the same tactics. And yeah, these women are reporting doctors are like waiting. And these are like, babies in NICU. So dad went to go, help transport baby to NICU, and doctors are asking like, hey, do you want an IUD? And the doctors are claiming, oh, well, it's important that we put it in, or it's easier that we do it, especially for the IUD, immediately postpartum.
That seems
and
really
I was
bad.
like, this seems like a terrible, like you have a wound the size of a dinner plate.
Yeah, let's stick a copper squiggly thing in
like
there.
That doesn't, but they're like, oh, your cervix is already dilated. Sorry, like it got
Sorry,
graphic
guys.
clip. But like that's the reality of it. And they're like, and I was like, that makes sense in a way,
well,
but also does not make sense in a way.
Your uterus hasn't contracted all the way down yet.
Exactly.
So what happens if it contracts down around the IUD in the wrong
Exactly. And so women who have IUDs placed immediately postpartum have like insanely more complications. It's more likely to move, right? Become dislodged, more likely to fall out.
Okay, so here's a really funny story. This is from a very, very, very long time ago. So there is no way that this is ever going to like damage someone's confidentiality. But we had a client and she got pregnant, which is what we do here. And she was like, we were like, and we always ask, like, we're using birth control. And she's like, yeah. And it fell out. And I was like, where did it?
From where?
Where did it go? And she's like, I don't know. She's like, but all I can think is some kid's going to think it's like a jelly bracelet and pick it up off the sidewalk.
Oh, she had okay.
And she was like, I try not to think about it. And we're both like the same age. Like this was a long time ago. Yeah. And we're both just looking at each other and we're like, yeah, we don't want to think about it. And she's like, right. And like she was fine with being pregnant. Yeah. Like they weren't planning it, but she was happy and like she was a great mom. And like we were having just a great conversation. But she was like, I keep thinking, what if some kid thinks it's a jelly bracelet and they pick it up and put it on?
It's terrible. but like this is something that's happening to women, and it's largely because they're getting these birth control implants, mostly in this case the IUD, immediately postpartum. A woman was talking about they had her open on the operating table after a C-section, and they were like, do you want an IUD while you're open? Like we've got you opened up. Can you imagine? She's there. Like and it was like it was an emergency C-section too, so like she's groggy from everything going on, and like epidural was wearing off, so she had to be like, it was like this traumatic. It sounded very traumatic, like a traumatic birth story
decisions in that state.
Yeah, so you've got. I mean, I wouldn't want to make medical decisions while I was, even if it was planned that they were going to open me up, but especially to have like an emergency C-section, and then literally your doctor just casually being like,
"You want us to pop one in there?"
Yeah, literally like, "Well, we've got you open. You want an IUD?" And I'm like, how does that work? That just seems not good.
That does not seem good. Okay, so you're not supposed to have intercourse for like 6 weeks after delivery.
Yeah.
And I realize not everybody
waits. It's because infection. Like they're worried that you're going to get infected.
So why are we popping copper into people?
I have no idea. Oh my goodness. So
this was all in that Time magazine.
It's all in that Time. I mean, it was a very thorough. I didn't even get to the end of it. It's long. But it's talking about how these women are feeling coerced, and doctors are asking like very personal. I mean, obviously it's your doctor, and so if you're going to be personal with someone, your doctor is probably going to be it. But like we're talking things like finances, economics, the things that.
So that's actually standard now. Every time I take the kids to the doctors, whether it's one of Jeremiah's specialty appointments or like a well baby checkup, I have to fill out a piece of paper talking about when the last time was that we moved, how many times we've moved in the last year, whether or not we can afford food, whether food has run out and we can't afford more. Like these are now standard questions.
Okay, and like I understand screening for things, but they're using it to coerce women to take birth control. Like they're selecting.
Like, so then my question is, now obviously we are like, no, we have transportation. Yeah. Like we have transportation. We're not worried about food. Like whatever. Like those are my answers. But I'm like, what if I was? Like, is that going to change how you handle this appointment?
Exactly. And so these women are sharing their experiences, and then they get ACOG involved, and ACOG is like, oh, like these are the criteria that we have for talking to women about birth control. And it took a really dark turn where and they had some crazy quotes from doctors basically saying that we know better than what these women. Like, we know better than these women. And so they don't understand like the economic disparity. They don't understand the situation that they're in. They don't understand how XYZ works. And we do. So that's why we do what we do. That's why we talk to them about it. And we keep asking them about it, is because we know better. And these women don't know.
Oh my goodness.
What a way to talk about women for a bunch of people who are into women's rights.
Yeah, it takes me right back to all the reading I did about eugenics.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to sterilize women. We're going to put them on birth control. We're going to put them in these sanitariums because they don't know their own mind and they can't make their own decisions.
Yeah. So much for being pro-choice.
Yeah. Until your choice is not what they want.
Yeah.
So one of the things too that this article points out, so this Natural Womanhood article, and it talks about one of the women who's sharing. She says, when I told my own doctor I had severe dysmenorrhea, I think is how it's pronounced.
I have no idea.
Well, amenorrhea is like no period, so I'm assuming it's dysmenorrhea. But wasn't interested in birth control. I was told, come back when you're ready for birth control. In the meantime, consider taking an ibuprofen. So I never brought it up again. And I've had friends who've had that experience as well, that they go in and the doctor's like, oh, you need birth control. And they're like, no, I don't want to take birth control. And it's like, well, that's all I've got.
Yeah.
And there's never, there's no digging. There's no, okay, let's find another solution. Let's figure this out. It's just, well, do you want birth control? Oh, you don't? Oh, well, have a nice day.
Yeah.
And that's super problematic. I see it a lot in the moms groups I'm in, especially I'm in one group, moms group, that's specific to like large Christian families.
Mm-hmm.
And they're constantly being like told, oh, just take birth control, just take birth control. And they're like, no, I don't want to use birth control. Like, I want to have kids. Like, that's our calling. That's how we live our lives. I want to have kids. And it's constantly just like, well, just take birth control.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. And so, the Time article was really good. I'll link it because it actually was like super interesting.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to read it.
It's really sad and it's very detailed. And then this article from Natural Womanhood is talking about the fact that, and I think they even say like birth control is used as the only tool in what should be a big toolbox when it comes to treating reproductive diseases or issues, right? Like lady issues.
Woman problems.
Yeah, like woman problems. And so, I mean, they talk about how a lot of it's money related. It's just easier to, like, you get money prescribing birth control, like birth control providers.
Well, and I think
it's
assumed that every woman is going to use birth control at some point.
Right. And so they're like, you might as well use it now. And you're like,
yeah.
What?
And we're putting girls on it as early as 12, 13, 14 years old. And then they're trying to stay on it until they're 30.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get off of it and they can't get pregnant.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh no, I never saw this coming. And I'm like, didn't anyone, I had, I know people who they were on birth control for a significant period of time, like maybe 2 or 3 or 4 years. And they got off birth control to try to have a baby and they immediately miscarried.
Yeah.
Because their uterine lining is like paper.
Yeah. No one tells them that you need to wait at least 6 months.
Yeah. Then the doctor says, oh, that happens sometimes. But you couldn't have warned them?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, just go off birth control and try to get pregnant. You're fine.
Well, because that's what these women in Africa are being told. Is like, oh, like if you want to get pregnant, just stop taking it and you'll get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always the case.
Right.
I mean, depending on what age you were, like when you've got young girls, I mean, they're not developed. Their hormones are all over the place. You can't tell me that pumping them full of hormones isn't going to change the way that their body works.
Right. Well, and we talked about that when we discussed the book, This Is Your Brain on Birth Control.
Mm-hmm.
It does change how your body works. It changes how your brain chemistry is. And so you married this guy while you were under the influence of birth control, for lack of a better term. Now you're off of it. Do you even like him anymore?
Yeah.
Like your hormones are changing, your chemistry is changing. It's wild that we as a society are just handing out these pills and they're so easy to get. So I've been getting advertisements on my Facebook page for like over-the-counter birth control.
Oh yeah, me too. Doesn't it make you feel good to know that you're still in that age demographic?
I am aging out.
You are aging out. I've still got like a solid decade, probably. But you're aging out. But like,
I am.
Yeah, like
it's mixed up. It's like I get birth control ads. I no longer get surrogacy ads, and I'm getting Botox ads.
Yeah.
That's how it's going right now.
Yeah. No. So I mean, it's super easy to get. In fact, I was in Walmart a couple of weeks ago. Like you can buy
it off the shelf.
You can buy it on the shelf, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Just not prescribed nothing. And even if you needed a prescription, you could get those online in minutes, and they're
They're
free
cheap.
or super cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and okay, so this is what kills me that as pregnancy centers, we get slammed because we're not pushing birth control. And I'm like, everyone is pushing birth control.
We don't need more birth control providers.
No, nobody is like, oh man, I wish I had a place to get birth control. Like, that just doesn't happen. There's so many places you can go. Your pregnancy center does not need to be one of them.
No. And we always talk about, like, hey, we want you to make healthy decisions. And I'm just straight up of the opinion that birth control is very rarely the healthy decision to make.
Yeah.
There's exceptions to every rule. But
for every woman to assume that every woman should or
wants to
be on birth control is just wild, because like our bodies are designed to have kids. Like that's what they're designed to do. So when we're using birth control, we're changing that design.
Yeah.
We don't do that for anything else. Nope. We don't say, oh, your stomach is supposed to digest food. Let's take care of that.
Well, give it 5 more years. I'm sure
I guess we have Ozempic.
I was about to say, like, we have Ozempic. Like we just have like synthetically generated eating disorders is what we've done with that.
Oh, it's crazy.
It's wild.
It's crazy. So one of the things that this article talks about that I do really appreciate is that doctors don't always have training or resources. So a lot of the times when someone comes and they talk to us here at the center, or I talk to them online, or a friend of mine reaches out, I'm like, NAPRO. So it's called NAPRO Technology, NAPRO Technology. And it's about addressing women's health care in a natural way, in a way that is designed to restore the ability to procreate. Mm-hmm. Not in, let's shut your hormones down, let's shut your system down, let's just mask it. Mm-hmm. And so one of the really cool things is that for a long time, and I remember, because I looked into it for a client like maybe 10 years ago, and the closest thing was like Harrisburg. I'm like, how am I gonna tell a client to like drive to Harrisburg to like see a doctor? Like, that's crazy. And they were doing over the phone stuff then, and they were doing like blood work, like they were working with it. Right. But now there's something called My Catholic Doctor, and it's all online. Okay. And you can see a doctor that is a pro-life, like life-affirming doctor, telemed.
Nice.
Yeah. And so you're able, and I don't know if all of them do, but a lot of them are NAPRO like certified or whatever. And so you can get online and you can do these telemed appointments from anywhere. And you don't have to be like physically in the same state or the same city as a doctor that has this specialty. But this article says, we know a minority of doctors recommend fertility awareness methods to their patients, let alone have the training and expertise to interpret menstrual cycle charts and recommend tailored solutions.
Like, it is wild to me that a medical doctor could be incapable of interpreting a menstrual cycle.
Right. Like the different phases and how your hormones change. And like, I have a friend, everyone talks to me about the reproductive system is basically what this is.
I'm becoming that person too.
Yeah, it's great.
It's interesting.
But she was struggling to become pregnant, and it turned out she just needed like a little bit of progesterone.
Yeah.
And she figured it out by reading her menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
And realizing that one of her phases was super short. And like, why is it super short? Oh, I'm not making enough progesterone, boom, baby.
Yeah.
And so it's like, why don't, like, that should be, every doctor in medical school should have to understand how a woman's chart.
One? Yeah. Like, look at it, and then, I mean, and if you can't determine anything, move on. But like, to not even be able to interpret, and I mean, I understand, like, it can be complicated.
Yeah.
Like, as someone who has one, I'm like, what?
But other than what was the first day of your last period, no doctor has ever asked me.
No.
About like symptoms, about how I feel, about like what was the first day of your last period is literally the only question I've ever got.
Yep. That's the only thing I've ever got. Now, admittedly, I don't have any, to my knowledge, reproductive issues. So there's not much going on.
Like, it's pretty quiet.
It's pretty quiet on that front. So, but yeah, like, I've never had, even preemptively, a doctor ask me about it in like a physical or an annual exam or anything. Like, it's just like, when is the first day of your last?
Yep.
And you're like,
well, now people are being told not to tell them that because it's all
right.
Yeah.
And I was like, well,
my periods are regular. That's all you need to know. That's like the suave thing to say now.
And you're like,
well, not that it matters.
Meanwhile, I'm just like, let me find my phone. Like,
heck if I know.
Yeah. I'm like, let me ask the app. Like, I don't know. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. Women are more likely to have autoimmune disorders. Women are more likely to have pain disorders like fibromyalgia. Women are more likely to be disbelieved when they go into the hospital emergency room doctor's office with heart pain, and that number only goes up when you're talking about women of color or women in poverty. And then we have, on top of this, we have this automatic birth control recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do? So maybe you're married, maybe you're not, maybe you're thinking about marriage, you're thinking about like, I want to get married, what do I do? Find an APRO doctor. Talk to a fertility specialist, whether it's someone with the Creighton method or like another fertility awareness method. There's a really good book. I'm always like looking for it. I think I've loaned it out so many times I've just lost it at this point, but it's called The Happy Girl's Guide to Being Whole.
Mm-hmm.
And we had it on the shelf. I give it to all of our, especially younger staff. I think I've given it to you. And it really breaks down, okay, how does your cycle work? What's happening in each phase? How are my hormones changing? How are they impacting my emotions? How are they impacting how I feel and how I think and how I react to the world around me? Because that really matters.
Mm-hmm.
And like parents, don't put your teenage daughter on birth control. Don't. First of all, call her to a higher standard.
Right. Well, that's the thing is like you hear, well, they're going to do it. Like I know she's going to do it. And so I want her to be protected. And it's like sheltering your kids from the natural consequences of actions is very rarely the right parenting move, I feel.
Right. And talk to your kids, first of all. Talk to them about your expectations and what you want for them and what you want for their future. But don't just assume, oh, well, they're going to do it anyway. Like, that's not healthy. No. And it's not good for your daughter to be just stuck on this hormone at 14, 15, 16 years old and plan on her to stay on it for the next 10 to 15 years. And if you are a woman or if you're married, I almost said married to a woman, but I feel like if you're not a woman and you're married, we would just say you should be married to a woman. That was confusing. Anyway,
I'm trying to track where you're going here.
If you're a woman or you're married and you're thinking about your wife, perhaps in this situation, and maybe she's using birth control, maybe you're using birth control, or maybe you've considered it, look into other options. Like fertility awareness is huge. There's tons of apps, there's tons of information, there's tons of methods, and it can really help you understand your body in a really, really cool way that birth control is not going to do for you.
Yeah. Yeah. There's options. Like we're not saying that everyone needs to get off birth control and have 400 children.
Mm-hmm. Which is also fine.
And that's fine if that's what you want to do, because women are allowed to have choices and choose to have a large family. It's a beautiful thing.
It is beautiful. It's also really noisy.
I'm sure. Like every now and then I'm like, oh, I'm so lonely. And then like I go visit your house and I'm like, oh, wow. Like I live alone.
One day you messaged me and you said something about, oh, I'm just chilling out at home. And I had this horrible stab of like uncontrollable jealousy as I've got like a baby clinging to my leg and mom in my ear. And there's like a dog barking. And I'm just like, she has it so good.
It does. I do have many blessings, but also like, I look at my friends with large families and I'm like, oh, Mom.
Yeah, it's awesome too. I mean, one day you'll be the one with a large family and all my kids will be gone and you'll be mad. You'll be the one listening to the dog barking with the kid around your leg and I'll be like, ha ha ha.
No, but like the point, children are blessings. And even though this entire article was largely looking at birth control from a treatment perspective, like as treatment for some sort of, reproductive disease, the reality is we need to stop acting like having children is the worst thing that could happen to a woman.
Yes.
And we also need to recognize that women do have complicated bodies. They are so, is innate the word I'm looking for? Like they're not innate, intricate. I mean, like they are so like finely tuned. And I think it is a disservice to the creator to not acknowledge that and to just blanket, here's some estrogen, have a nice time.
And if you're a doctor, like do the work. Like use your big brain.
Be a doctor.
Because you have one if you're a doctor. I don't have a big brain, but use your big brain and figure out how women's cycles work and what symptoms of like irregular cycles, long cycles, short phases, long phases, whatever, figure out what those symptoms mean so that when your female patients come to you with a problem, you're not just like, oh, well, here's a Band-Aid, have some birth control.
Yeah. Like women deserve better.
And if we're going to be serious about women's healthcare in this country, and we should be, because first, women's healthcare, I believe, is in a lot of ways way more complicated than men's, because we have the whole reproductive thing that's just way more complicated. And we always talk about maternal health care, women's health care, okay, well, let's actually care about it and like figure out how our cycles work and how they impact us.
Yeah.
Because just handing out birth control pills is not the answer.
No, it's not doing anyone any favors.
Yeah.
No one is, other than people who I guess make birth control, no one's benefiting from this. Everyone is suffering. Women who are taking it are suffering from diseases that aren't being treated properly, that no one's looking into. We could do better. I know we can do better.
We can. We're America.
Yeah.
America's awesome.
We can do better. So look into, if you're on birth control, look into your options. Like you said, I don't know what everyone's situation is, but read up on it. There's a lot of really good resources. Take it to your doctor.
Mhm.
Advocate for yourself. And that can be really hard, especially when you're not a medical professional arguing with a medical professional.
I've done it.
I've done it too. Like, I mean, read up, go armed, go prepared, but advocate for yourself. And don't take, well, you have to be on birth control or otherwise just have ibuprofen as an answer, because that's not the only answer. There's, find a new doctor. And they talk about that in the article too, that like when all else fails, you don't have to go to that doctor. You can find another one, and let your doctor know that, because they make money off of you going to their office, and most of them aren't going to want you to leave. So,
right. And remember that, and this is our Jesus moment, I guess. The Bible only discusses children as a blessing.
Yeah.
There's, obviously a disbelieving child or a disrespectful child.
Children can cause
problems, but having children, bearing children
is only ever a blessing.
The only time you see it discussed in any kind of negative light is when they're talking about the end of days and women, and it's like women who are bearing and nursing in those days because they won't be able to run as fast. And we're talking like the literal end of the world.
Right.
That is not saying that children are, they're wonderful little people. And you have this opportunity to grow and learn and sacrifice and give part of yourself up for someone else. And that's just really beautiful.
Yeah. And it's just really hard to come to terms with the fact that this is where we are.
Yeah.
Like we're pumping women full of hormones.
To interrupt their natural processes.
Right. Like, and like I said, and not to beat the dead horse, but obviously like birth control is being used for symptoms of other reproductive diseases and whatnot. But like at the end of the day, it was created to prevent pregnancy. Like that is the purpose of birth control.
Yep. So there you have it. So do the research, check out the Times article. Can we link to the Natural Womanhood article too?
Yeah. We'll link everything.
And if just know your body, know yourself, and do the research, and maybe check out that My Catholic Doctor and see if there's a better solution for you than the one that your doctor's giving you.
Yeah, and talk to your local pregnancy center. I've never talked to a pregnancy help worker who was not interested.
Oh, we're all totally
talking about people's periods.
There's a reason everybody calls me.
Yeah, I was like, and I've talked with my friends about it, and I think it's really interesting, honestly. But pregnancy centers often have a lot of resources for fertility awareness methods and whatnot.
So I was the first one of my friend group to get married. So I got married before senior year.
So you were like that friend.
I was that friend.
Okay.
So I graduated a semester early. And so I got married the summer before my senior year. But I only had 3 months left.
Right.
And so all of my friends got married. Most of my friends got married the summer after their senior year. So I was married for a year before they were. And one of my favorite memories is being in the basement of Old Main and drawing like women's reproductive. Like I had like a whole bunch of girls that were all about to get married. Like they're all engaged. And I'm like drawing like fallopian tubes and the uterus. And we're talking about cycles. Cause I was interning at the pregnancy center.
Right.
And I had learned all about like cycle tracking and like how your period works and all this stuff. And I'm like down there with the chalk, like going crazy. And they're all like taking notes. It was great. It was fun. We left it up.
Nice.
We did not erase it.
Nice.
They 100% came in for like all the engineers came in for their math class. And they were like, what is this?
That's fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. So yeah, call your pregnancy center. Check out that website about the doctor. Talk to your doctor, and let's do better because we need to.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.